This is the highlight of this entire Facebook advertising training. All the setup that we have done so far is leading up to this point. Now, if I were to sum up Facebook advertising, it's always in these 3 steps: campaign, ad sets, and ads. Now, before I get started, I just want to give you a heads up of what these 3 tabs or these 3 steps represent. Okay, in campaigns, we talk about the objective, which we're going to do afterwards. It's rather simple. I'm going to give you something that's very straightforward. And then when it comes to ad sets, this is basically where you set up your targeting, which country you want to advertise to, what kind of detailed interest, what kind of audience, age group, gender, and so on. Okay. And third, last but not least, would be your ad creatives. And this is where you're going to be putting in your ad copy, which we have discussed on how to do it in another video, where your images are, where your videos are. Okay. Now, this video might take quite a bit of time, but it's going to be well worthwhile. So I want you to follow me every step of the way and pay close attention. I don't want you to do anything else. Just follow what I have to do here. And after this, you have a lot of time to do your own setup, your own Facebook advertising, campaign creation, and so on. All right, now let's get started. Now, be very sure that, first of all, you are already in your Ads Manager. So this is one of the Ads Manager that I'm using right now. If you're not sure how to get here, I'm just going to backtrack a little bit. You go to the top left. And in your Business Manager, you can either click on the ad account here or the Ads Manager link over here as well. All right, so they both go to the same place. Let's click on it, and you will arrive in your Ads Manager. And this is where we're going to be creating your advertisement. Okay, we're going to make the first one. And at this point, I had already stand by a test Facebook ad copy with a test image to show you how this is done. Now, for all intents and purposes, we're going to do a conversions campaign, and we're going to do this with the intention of generating leads. Now, if you're going to be doing this because you want to get purchases and all that, it's still the same thing. Okay, it's the same mindset, the same setup. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to click on create, and we're going to do the first step, campaigns. If you had already set up your Facebook pixel and you had already added the event codes and the Facebook pixel code to your web pages, then you can do this. All right. Now, I know some of you might be thinking right now, what about the rest of these options like brand awareness, reach? Doesn't traffic make more sense? Are we doing lead generation? Should we be clicking on this? Well, I want you to ignore everything else and just follow me. Okay. I know I've said that like a couple of times already, and I might remind you every now and then. It's because discipline is of the utmost importance right now. It's very tempting to click anywhere else. I don't want you to do that, because if you do that, you're going to be making quite some costly financial mistakes. So please don't do that, okay? Pay close attention to what I'm doing here. Follow this to the letter, okay? Now click on conversions. And I just want to tell you up front that when I do campaign objective, I would say like 90 to even 100% of the time, I do conversion campaigns for my ad accounts. I rarely choose any others. And if you're wondering why I don't want to do this, or what do all these other campaign objectives represent, I'll explain that in another video. So right now, do first, understand later. Got me? Beautiful. All right, so we're going to choose conversions, and we're going to click this pull down menu here, and we're going to give it a name. All right. So in this case of this example here, I'm going to be giving away a free PDF ebook. So I'm just going to call it PDF book. Okay, or conversions PDF book. So I normally like to name the campaign objective here, so it's quite straightforward. So I'm going to call it conversions. The next thing we're going to do is ad set and ad. Now, this is a bit too early to set up right now. Okay, I'm just going to click on skip ad set, because this is quite a setup in its own. You have to be thorough about it. There's no point giving it a name right now. Let's skip this part. Click on continue, and we're now reviewing our setups for the campaign. Okay, we're still on the first step called campaign. We haven't gone to the second step yet. So we're just going to confirm the campaign name. Yes, this is the name of the campaign. You can change the name later. We can pretty much ignore all of this right now. Ignore all of this. And you might be asked campaign budget optimization, or CBO. Now, this is something that should be covered only in an advanced level, but for beginners, I will recommend that you turn this off. In fact, when I advertise for the first time for any new campaigns, I do not use campaign budget optimization, or CBO. Again, if you're wondering what this is all about, I don't think it's time for you to worry about that just yet. It's a little bit too early, and no worry, you can still get results with or without CBO. this is something that's reserved only on a higher level, or as you spend more money with Facebook ads, or as you get more advanced, then you can get into CBO, okay? But right now, just ignore it. And what I want to say is that as far as campaign setup goes, it's actually very easy. You can pretty much leave all of this alone and make sure that campaign budget optimization is turned off. And we're going to click publish. And yep, we've already done the first step. See how easy that was? Okay, so I'm going to click on close. And we're not done yet. We're only just starting out like step 1 out of 3. Now we're going to step number 2. So now it's quite easy to see this right now because this is the only campaign that we have at the moment. And we haven't set up anything else yet. Okay, so as you start creating more campaigns, it might get a little bit more cluttered. So what you want to get a habit is that you want to click on this, tick this box so that you see every ad set or advertisement that's related to this campaign. So I'm going to move on to the next part, which is ad set. Okay, so we're now on step 2. And in step 2, we have not created any targeting just yet. Okay, so we'll click on create. And we're going to give it a name. Okay, so now I'm normally quite reluctant to give it a name at this point because we haven't set up anything just yet. So I'm just going to call it a test at the moment. Okay, so I know this might sound a bit weird, just bear with me. We'll call it test right now because I just want to create the ad set here. Okay, now there was a previous setup and I just want to let you know that as of the time of this video, this is the newest interface. Some older Facebook accounts might see an older interface where some things might look a little bit different, but rest assured that it's just a cosmetic thing. The features are pretty much the same. Okay, so right now we're on step 2 and that is creating the ad set. So I've just given it a name called test, but again, I do not want you to use this name. We're going to visit this later, okay, and I have a good reason for that. Now what's going to happen here is that I'm going to go through every step of the way in creating your ad set. Now, creating a campaign was dead easy and you just saw that. That was done in practically a couple of clicks. And if I were not explaining it to you, it would have been done in just mere seconds. Now, ad set might take a bit of time, especially if you are an absolute beginner. I remember when I did this the first time, I was so new to it that I didn't know what I was doing, so just bear with it. But with that said, it's something that you will make it second nature eventually as you start running more Facebook ads. Okay, now you might notice something on the right hand side here. That's the audience definition with a potential reach, and there's a speedometer here of sorts. All right, now this account is showing to Malaysia, but in actuality you can pretty much advertise to any country in the world. All right, so let's start off with conversion here. You choose website, we're going to leave it be. The pixel, now we have created one pixel here before, so this is the only pixel that we're using. All right, your pixel will appear here, and we're going to choose a conversion event called lead. Now here's the thing, if your pixel is brand new, you're going to see that this color will be red. So it might not be a nice thing to see, but don't be alarmed, because the moment the first action is taken or the first lead comes in, this will be green immediately. So don't be afraid or feel bad if this is a red color right now. If it's a new account, it's always red, so don't worry about it. In fact, let me just take a look. You see, like, I don't use any of these actions at all. Let's say if I try add to cart, okay, it's still red. But in our case, we're going to go with lead, all right? And if you're tracking for purchases or you're optimizing for purchases, then you will obviously choose purchase, all right? But right now, for the purpose of this example, let's go with lead, all right? Now let's scroll down. Dynamic creative, we can leave this alone. Offer, leave it off, all right? That basically you don't have to touch any of this. Budget, okay, so you can see this is folded down a little bit. Let's click on show more options. You can pretty much just let it run as it is, and you can turn off the campaign or ad set at any time, which I'm going to show you how to do it afterwards. Okay, we'll just leave this alone, and the next thing we're going to take a look at is the audience. And now this is probably a little bit more important here. Okay, now here's the game. All right, the game here is that we're going to aim to make the potential reach anywhere from 200,000 to 1 million people, within that range. All right, now you're wondering why is it that we're lowering it down to 200,000 to 1 million people. Wouldn't it be better to show to a more targeted group of people? Why not like 40,000 people, 10,000 people, or anything like that? That is not how Facebook works. Now, I'm going to give you a short explanation right now. There is a reason why we're doing what I just told you. To put it in very simple English or very simple terms, it's that, first of all, we're normally advertising on a low budget, like 5 to 10 US dollars a day, all right? And even if you're spending a few $100s a day, that's still considered a small budget in the grand scheme of things. And you're going to use that to try to reach as many people as possible. So obviously that's not really going to happen, all right? And the other thing that comes into play is the Facebook algorithm. So for example, if you're going to put a potential reach of only 10,000 people, yeah, I know you might envision 10,000 people might be a lot of people right now, but what's happening here is that your Facebook ad is only showing to a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the audience. So, and the way Facebook works better is that with a bigger audience, Facebook has a bit more room to try to look for people that are most likely to take action on your ad or on your offer, okay? So just trust me on that. We're gonna put a potential reach of minimum 200,000 people. 1 million would be ideal, but if you overshoot a little bit, like 1.1, 1.2 million people, that's okay. And if you're wondering, what if I want to target 2 to 3 million people or 5 million people, that's okay, but that would be recommended when you advertise on a higher daily budget, such as hundreds of dollars a day or thousands of dollars a day, then that might make a bit more sense, okay? So with that said, right now, for beginners, I always recommend that people start off with 5 to 10 US dollars a day. If you want to go $20 a day, that's okay as well. But I think that's one of the wonders of Facebook, because at this point in time, you can still advertise relatively inexpensive, validate your offer before you scale, all right? So with that said, now, in this test offer or this example offer, I'm going to be giving a PDF book on my landing page, and I'm asking for email addresses. So I want to target, let's say, United States, all right? So I'm going to just remove this country. I'm just going to put United States, all right? So it's a really big country, all right? And you can see that there's 230 million Facebook users in the United States, all right? Which is really, really a lot. And obviously we need to lower that number to 200,000 to a million people, or 1.2 million people for the matter, okay? Now, here's what we're going to do. If you notice that the location here, people living or recently in this location, we're going to change it to people living in this location. Now this really depends on some countries where you might be making an offer that citizens of that country would take part in, okay? Sometimes, for example, if you're doing insurance, you're selling properties, and usually you're selling it to another person who is a citizen, then you want to make sure that this offer shows to as many of those citizens as possible. So if you put people living in or recently in this location by default, someone can be on a holiday or travel to the United States, and they'll still see your advertisement, and they may not be your ideal target. So you don't want that to happen, okay? So just click on people living in this location, and off we go, all right? Next, age group. Now this is totally depending on your nature of business. Sometimes if you are you're expecting to sell some high ticket offers, then it might not make sense to target people that are a little bit too young, with not much of a disposable income. And this differs from country to country. It really depends, all right? So in my case, because I'm targeting mostly established business owners, I'm gonna go with 27 years old and above, all right? And it's still a lot of people, 180 million people. So maybe I'll just go with like 55, not too old, all right? 27 to 55, okay? Potential reach, 130 million people. Gender, both, all right? I don't discriminate, but sometimes you might be running a very niche business. Like for example, if you're selling women-related products, then obviously it makes sense that you choose only women, all right? But in this case, I'm going to just go with both, all right? And the next part is detailed targeting. Now you're going to notice this box here in advance. I'm going to uncheck this, okay? You don't need targeting expansion. Be sure to uncheck this. And you might notice that I have skipped the detailed targeting. I'm going to get to that afterwards. We're going to go down to languages first. And I'm going to type in English all right? Now, one of the beauties about the language here is that you can advertise in any language that you want. You can advertise it in Chinese, for example, or any other languages. So, but what's important here is that you need to be congruent. So that means, for example, if your advertisement is going to be in Chinese, then you're going to put language Chinese over here. And what's going to happen is that Facebook will target users that normally converse or communicate in Chinese. All right, that's just one example. But since my advertisements are written in English, then English it is. Okay. Now, with that said, let's just go show more options. All right, there's nothing really to look at. And with that said, we have a potential reach of 120 million people, which is still rather huge. So this is where detailed targeting comes in. So to put it in very simple terms, we're going to type in the interest of the people that are interested in that particular topic or field, and based on what Facebook thinks. So what I want to say is that Facebook is a rather smart learning machine, and it kind of tracks people's behavior, and we're going to maximize our chances reaching those kind of people that might be interested in your offer. So in my case here, I'm giving away a PDF book for this particular example about, guess what? Social media marketing. All right. So I'm going to type in digital marketing and let's see what comes out. All right. Digital marketing as an interest. So you can see that quite some suggestions here. We're going to click the first one, and we have 9.3 million people. All right, so it's still rather broad. I'll try to like reduce this somewhat, but let's just say you have a shortage of reach. What you can do is you can click on suggestions and type in any other closely related topics or interests that people have. Let's just try social media marketing and let's see what happens. All right, I'm going to remove digital marketing and social media marketing. So we've got 15 million people, so that's even more. All right, now this is the part where you can either target by the state. So I'm just giving you some suggestions right now. You can target by state. Let's just try California. All right, California, and I'm just going to try digital marketing again. And now we have 1.5 million potential reach. All right, so we're getting somewhere. Maybe let me just try adjusting the age up a little bit. How about 30 to 55 years old? 1.2 million people. I think this is a very good number to work with. Okay, so California, 30 to 55, digital marketing. All right, so we have at least a potential reach of 1.2 million people. There we go. All right, so we're pretty much set up for this. So you can see that what I did here is that I just kind of play around with the settings here until I get a potential reach of 1.2 million people. But let me just show you another example. Let's just say you insist on showing to the entire United States. All right. So obviously it's going to be a whopping 7.4 million people at age 30 to 55. What I can do is that I can type in the names of public figures or gurus in this market. Let's say, for example, Gary Vaynerchuk. All right. So this is what I call a passionate keywords. Basically, people that are into that topic will definitely know who these public figures are. All right. So we got 3.9, which is still quite a lot. All right. Let's try maybe, how about Grant Cardone? Okay. 4.7 million people. Wow, this is really, really huge. Okay. But I'm just letting you know that this is kind of like the mindset that we follow when it comes to typing out all these keywords and things like that. Maybe I'm just going to type in another one. I'm just going to type in email marketing. All right. I'm just going to remove the public figures, email marketing. Okay, we have like 1.3 million. Wow, pretty good. All right. So let's just say I want to target people that are interested in email marketing, and it's 1.3 million people, but it covers the entire United States. So this is one ad set that I can go with already. And like I said, a minimum of 200,000 to a million people, but if you overshoot a little bit, like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, that's still okay. All right. Now, placements. Some experts might tell you to just leave it at automatic placements, but I would differ here. I would recommend that you go for manual placements and remove audience network. All right. Now, why would I want to do such a thing? Because I want this advertisement to show up on Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger, but I do not want this to show up on audience network. So what is audience network? Now, this is basically advertisements that show up on some partner-approved websites like CNN or any other news sites like Daily Mail and so on. And in my experience running this, I find that even though Facebook distributes a small budget to audience network, the leads quality that come from audience network is usually poor, and it's quite susceptible towards spam bots and hacking for some strange reason. So to put it short, go for manual placements, just uncheck the audience network and you are good to go. You're not losing anything anyway. All right. So after this, We'll go to the next one, and yep, this is really all there is to it. Okay, so there's one last thing I'm going to add here we have not done yet, is the ad set name. Now we're going to give a formula to this so that we know that every time we take a look at the ad set name, we know that this is the targeting. So this is kind of like the formula that I would recommend you follow. I'm just going to call it FB IG. So basically it means that this is showing on Facebook and Instagram. The next one will be a location, which is United States, USA. Age group with 30 to 55 years old, male, female, and we're going to put in the keyword or detailed interest called email marketing. So by seeing Facebook and Instagram, we know that this is targeting USA, ages 30 to 55, male, female, that are interested in email marketing. So this is how I named the ad sets. Okay, once we're done, we click on publish. With that said, you might notice that there was a slight error here, which is the advertisement which we have not yet created. So we are done with step 2. We're now going to go to step 3, and that's creating the advertisement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this docking panel and have this ticked, and then I'm going to go to ads for the one ad set. So you might notice that there's this draft that was created in advance, and although you can create a new ad, we can just edit what we have over here. Okay, we'll click on edit, and we're going to create our ad creative. So we had just done step 2 just now. That's the targeting, what kind of audience, what kind of country we're going to be going for. And now we're going to go for putting in your first ad. Okay, now you can call it any name you want. I'm just going to call it post 1. And the next thing we're going to do is Facebook page, which we already have added in. If you have an Instagram account that's integrated or connected, you can just put it here. Otherwise, you can just use the default use selected page. And I think that's the wonderful part, because this allows you to advertise on Instagram without owning an Instagram account. How cool is that? Okay, the next step we're going to go is create the ad. So there are 3 choices here, and we're going to go with single image or video. I personally have tested all these 3, and I still find that single image or video still converts the best. So let's just go with it. Okay, there's this cool part called full mobile experience. This is totally up to you, but I would recommend that for simplicity's sake, we're just going to uncheck this right now, and we're going to go on to the next part. Okay. Now at this point, if you have already done your previous exercise, you already have your ad copy on standby, because what we're going to do is we're just going to copy and paste it over here. I don't encourage people to write manually into the primary text, because you will find that the Facebook Ads Manager will load rather slow somehow. When you make changes, when you delete, when you backspace and you type again, it gets a little bit slow. So this is why I would recommend that you type everything that you need in a notepad or a word pad, and copy and paste the contents in it. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's go to media first. We're going to click on add media, and this is where you can add an image or a video. And right now we're going to keep things simple. I'm going to click on add image. And as a brand new account, there are no images for you to use, all right? So there are 2 ways you can go about doing it. The first way is that you can upload an image that you already have created, and we can use it. The alternative, if you want to keep things a bit fast and simple, and also for split testing reasons, is that you can click on this top here and choose stock photos. And the cool thing here is that Shutterstock has joint ventured with Facebook to bring you all these royalty-free stock photos that are pretty good in quality. All right, you can use any pictures that you want here. I'm just going to type in the word social media and let's see what comes out. Okay, so it might take a while because there's like a lot of pictures here, and let's just say this looks interesting. I'm going to take this one, but I just want to give you a heads up or a warning here. Just because Shutterstock has joint venture with Facebook to bring you all the stock photos, it doesn't mean that all these pictures are compliant with the Facebook policy. I'm going to give you an example here, like this one called social media. All right, let me just choose this for a while, and so you can preview it for yourself. Now, one of the things that Facebook doesn't like is when you put in pictures that have huge text that cover the pictures, like this one. All right, I'm not sure whether this would pass or not, but basically anything with a 20% or more text coverage in the Facebook picture, you're gonna find that Facebook will either not show it a lot, which means you get a high cost per 1,000 impression, or even outright disapprove this image, even though it's part of the archives in the stock photos. Okay, another one, I'm just going to clear this image for a while. So if you don't want an image, you just click clear, and then you just click again, add image. All right, I'm going to stock photos, and if you're going to add revealing pictures, like say for example a bikini, all right, even though you can see a lot of these pictures here, but there's a very high chance it will get disapproved as well, because these are all revealing pictures. Okay, so just because these pictures are here, it doesn't mean that it's compliant. And you can see that even the warning and the heads up is here already. They've already made a disclaimer. Some stock images may not comply with Facebook policies. Read our advertising policy before selecting an image. All right, so with that said, let's just go back to social media, and I'm just going to go with one of them. All right, let's not think too much. Let's go with this. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the primary text. Okay, so let's just say this is the picture that we're going to go with. Let's not think too much right now, and I'm going to just copy and paste content over here. Okay, so you can see how fast that was when I just copy and pasted this add copy into the primary text, and you can see that there's a preview over here. Later I'm going to show you how you can preview this ad proper. All right, now I'm not going to explain too much, but other than letting you know that ideally if you're going to use emojis, you want to keep it below 10. So that's like 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 emojis. Okay, just good. Anything below 10 emojis is possible. Anything more than that, it might hurt the user experience and your ad score with Facebook. So keep your emojis below 10. And as you can see, that it's quite readable in that the paragraphs are no more than 1 to 3 lines each. It's readable. And next thing we're going to go is for the headline. The headline is the big text that appears at the bottom of the image. I'm just going to copy and paste that. Okay. And even though the description is optional, I still recommend that you paste something here as well, because people that are browsing Facebook on a laptop or a desktop computer will be able to see it most of the time. So, but in mobile, they won't see it. So I think, you know what, it's okay to still add something here for completion's sake. And next, we're going to go down to destination website, and you're going to put in the website URL. So this is the link to your sales page or your landing page for that matter. The address that I'm putting here is made up, by the way. It's obviously not real. I'm just showing you as an example. But of course, please make sure that this website already exists and that your Facebook pixel is already installed correctly. And after that, display link, you might notice it's the same. You can actually just copy back here and remove the HTTPS to make it look a little bit neater. And there we go. All right. Next, call to action. This is the button that appears here. Now, I've tried a lot of other buttons here. I've tried no button, I've tried download, and I find that learn more is the best call to action. So let's not think too much. Let's just go with the best default option, learn more. Okay. And yeah, we're done. That's it. Okay. So okay, just ignore this error up here. This is just a test account. By right, you shouldn't be seeing this, but I just want you to know that this is how to set up and create your ad on Facebook. And this is the third and final step. And once we're done, we're just going to click publish. Yeah, and that's really all there is to it. So I know that there's a slight error here because, like I said, I'm using a test account right now. But what's going to happen is in Ad Set Delivery, this is going to show in review, and Facebook will review your ad. It might take as quickly as several minutes to even like several hours. If your account is brand new, just allow for 24 hours. And after that, as your standing increases with Facebook, then you're going to find your approval might get a little bit faster and faster. But yeah, that's really all there is to it when it comes to creating your advertisement on Facebook in 3 easy steps. Okay. Now, of course, I just want to give some parting words in this particular video, in that we've just created one advertisement, and once this gets approved, you should move on with creating a second advertisement onwards, so that you can run more ad creatives, test more, let Facebook find a winner, and yes, just scale your business from there. Okay, so that's all there is to it.